The late-night train was nearly empty, just the rhythmic clatter of wheels on steel and the hum of the overhead lights. I found a seat by the window, the city lights blurring into long streaks of neon as we picked up speed. A few stops later, a woman got on. She was dressed in a simple, dark coat, her face obscured by the shadow of a wide-brimmed hat. She sat down right next to me, even though the carriage was full of empty seats. I thought it was a bit strange, but I just turned back to the window, watching the dark countryside fly by. That's when I noticed it. In the reflection on the glass, I could see myself clearly. I could see the worn fabric of the seat, the flickering lights of the carriage, the empty seats across the aisle. But the seat next to me, it was empty. In the reflection, there was no woman. My heart started to pound. I blinked, thinking my eyes were playing tricks on me. I looked at her, then back at the window. She was definitely there, sitting beside me, still as a statue. But in the reflection, there was just an empty space where she should have been. A cold dread crept up my spine. My mind was racing, trying to find a logical explanation, a trick of the light, a weird angle. But no matter how I shifted, how I tilted my head, the reflection remained the same, me and an empty seat. I could feel a coldness emanating from her, a chill that had nothing to do with the train's air conditioning. I wanted to get up, to move, to run to the other end of the carriage, but I was frozen in place. It felt like I was in a nightmare, unable to move or scream. I stole another glance at her. She hadn't moved a muscle. Her head was still slightly bowed, the hat hiding her face, but I could feel her presence, heavy and suffocating. My breath hitched. I had to be sure. I slowly, deliberately raised my hand and pretended to scratch my head, watching the reflection in the window. My reflection mimicked the movement perfectly. I then looked at the woman, her hands resting in her lap, perfectly still. In the window, there was nothing. No hands, no coat, no hat. Just me and the empty seat. The train rattled on, plunging deeper into the darkness. The silence in the carriage was deafening, amplifying the frantic beat of my own heart. I thought about pulling the emergency brake, about screaming for help. But who would believe me? They'd think I was crazy. The train would stop, the conductor would come, and they'd see a man yelling about a woman who was clearly sitting right there. I felt trapped. I had decided to try something else. I fumbled for my phone, my fingers clumsy and trembling. I pretended I was taking a selfie, angling the camera to capture both of us. My hands were shaking so badly the screen was a blur. I took a deep breath, steadied myself, and snapped a picture. I quickly opened the photo. My own face stared back, pale and terrified, and next to me, an empty seat. The photo confirmed it. She wasn't just invisible in the reflection. She was invisible to my camera too. This was beyond any rational explanation. Ghosts, vampires, demons. My mind scrambled through every horror story I'd ever heard, trying to make sense of the impossible. Was she a ghost? Was I hallucinating? The coldness beside me felt real. The weight of her presence was undeniable. I could hear the soft rustle of her coat when the train swayed. She was real. And she wasn't. My mind was a whirlwind of fear and confusion. I couldn't keep staring at the window. It was too terrifying. But I couldn't look at her either. I was stuck staring at my own reflection, at the ghostly emptiness beside me. The train began to slow down as we approached a tunnel. The lights outside vanished, replaced by the deep, oppressive blackness of the earth. The carriage lights flickered for a moment, and the reflection in the window became even clearer, like a perfect dark mirror. In that mirror, I saw my own terrified face. And then slowly a shape began to form in the empty seat beside my reflection. It wasn't the woman. It was something else. Vague at first, then sharpening into a horrifying form. It was pale, with long, spindly limbs and eyes that were just dark, hollow pits. Its mouth was a jagged, smiling gash. It was looking right at me, not at my reflection, but at *me**. A scream was caught in my throat. I couldn't tear my eyes away from the grotesque figure in the window. It raised a long, clawed hand and pointed. Not at me, but past me, towards the woman sitting beside me. I finally broke my paralysis. I snapped my head to look at her, my body screaming to get away. And for the first time, she moved. Her head lifted slowly, agonizingly, The hat's shadow receded and I saw her face. It was normal, almost plain, but her eyes were wide with a terror that mirrored my own. Her lips parted and a single hoarse whisper escaped. It was barely audible above the noise of the train, but I heard it as clearly as if she'd screamed it in my ear. "Don't look outside." As she spoke, the train plunged into the tunnel. The carriage was thrown into absolute darkness. The lights went out completely. I was blind, trapped in the pitch black with this woman and whatever was outside. The train's horn blared, a mournful, deafening sound that echoed through the tunnel. I felt a sudden, intense cold wash over me, and the air grew thick, making it hard to breathe. I could hear a faint scratching sound, like nails on glass, coming from the window. I squeezed my eyes shut, pressing myself as far away from the window as I could, my back hitting the armrest. The scratching grew louder, more frantic. It sounded like something was desperately trying to get in. The woman's words echoed in my head. "Don't look outside." What was out there? What was that thing in the reflection? Was it trying to get to her? Or to me, the moments in the tunnel felt like an eternity. The scratching was right next to my ear now, accompanied by a low, guttural growl. I held my breath, praying for the light, for the end of the tunnel. Then, just as suddenly as it began, we burst out of the tunnel and back into the moonlight. The carriage lights flickered back on. I gasped, blinking in the sudden brightness. The scratching had stopped. I slowly opened my eyes. The first thing I did was look at the seat beside me. It was empty. The woman was gone. There was no sign she had ever been there. I whipped my head around, scanning the carriage. It was just as it had been before, mostly empty, a few scattered passengers dozing in their seats, oblivious. I turned back to the window, my heart still hammering against my ribs. My reflection stared back, alone. The seat beside me was empty in the reflection, just as it was in reality. It was over. She was gone. But then my eyes fell on the glass of the window itself. In the spot where the creature's face had been in the reflection, there were 3 long, deep scratches etched into the outside of the glass. They weren't a reflection. They were real. I never saw the woman again. I don't know who or what she was. Was she a ghost protecting me? Or was she something else, being hunted? All I know is that ever since that night I avoid late-night trains. And I never ever sit by the window, because sometimes the things you see in the reflection are more real than you think. And sometimes you really shouldn't look outside. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Stay safe out there.